Oh, welcome back to the Panic Report and your host, Panic. Hey, pranksters! Welcome back to the Panic Report. That's right, it's your host, Panic. Today we're going to be talking about our experience at California Great America Halloween Haunt 2021. That's right, we went this last Friday, had a great time. We're going to talk all about it with you up next. But before we get there, as always, please hit the subscribe button down below. Join the prankster crew. Become one of us on the dark side, enjoying all the frights and fears that we've got out there. Here on the channel, we cover haunted houses and escape rooms and real haunted places. I might throw a roller coaster or two inside there, which we did experience at this event. So we'll talk about that. Also see that thumbs up button down below? That's right, you know what to do, pranksters. Give it a smash! Also, comment down below if you've gone to this event, either in the past or this year, and which was your favorite. Do you agree with me or not? So let's get into it. California Great America Halloween Haunt 2021. This is our first time ever attending this event, and we had a great time. We got there with our passes. We have Cedar Fair passes, so that gets us into the event. Also, if you have Gold Pass, I believe, for California Great America, you get in. We got free parking, got us into the event. Super cool. So this is a separate ticketed event. Look up online for prices. I believe they change throughout the season. But if you do have those two passes, then you get in. Cool. So, on to the mazes. They had 5 mazes this year. I will say that this event is also suffering the same thing that everybody is suffering out there with talent. It's real hard to get people to work nowadays, so you could tell that the talent was really, the talent they did have was working their hardest. There just wasn't very many in there. So number 5 on my list was probably one of my most anticipated haunts that I was really looking forward to. It was called Museum Blackout. And it's a wax museum, and the power's gone out. So they're supposed to be giving out flashlights for every so many people. They didn't say, they just said some people get flashlights, some don't. It's supposed to be dimly lit flashlights, so you can go through and use the flashlight to look around this wax museum that the power's out in, and then there'll be scares inside there. Problem number 1 is they did not give out flashlights. At least for us. We waited in a very long line, and by the time we got there, very long, I say a half hour, but still, that's the longest we waited in all night, because it usually put people in groups of 6 at a time, and by the time we got to the front of the line, they were just conga lining this one, so there was no more groups of 6, it was just a solid conga line of people. The only one that we had that at, no flashlight, so you go through an entirely dark haunt. I mean, there was a little bit of light bleed from, I believe, the 2 or 3 rooms that had light. So you could kind of make out silhouettes of things, but you couldn't see anything. I had no clue what I was looking at. I'm guessing I was in a wax museum from the few little things I did see. Also, talent. This was probably the one with the least number of scare actors in it of the entire night, which isn't good because you'll hear some of the other ones didn't have very many in them. And I don't know if that's just because it was so dark I didn't see them. They didn't move when we went by. They weren't making noises. It's hard to see what's real and what's not because all you see is kind of shadows. There also was no real back soundtrack in this haunt. This one just had like the sound of electricity trying to come on and then shutting off. I get it because the power's going out. But there's something to say about sound in a haunt. And the sound design goes a long way when you're going through a haunt to fill space. You know, your head creates this environment that you're in based on what you see and what you hear. And without the sound, especially with not being able to see anything, it was just dead. There really wasn't anything. Which is a real bummer because I was looking forward to this one. This one also, for those of you not Scary Farm fans, the facade for this one is the old facade from Black Magic. Just without the projection on it. So it's just the blank white facade with the face and the... Anyways, if you go on my, I believe it was Instagram I posted a picture of it. It's the exact same facade from Not Scary Farm Black Magic. So I thought that was kind of cool, got me amped up for it, and then I was very let down by this one. I hope they figure out the flashlight thing, and if not, please put some lights in there so we can see what's going on, because it was a bunch of nothing, and it was kind of a bummer. Okay, on to the next. At number 4, we've got Roadkill Roadhouse. Now, I thought this one was very cool. It's in a tent. There wasn't much to the facade, but going inside, a lot of detail, a lot of blood. When you hear roadkill, I mean, you're thinking hillbillies and blood and butchers and all over the place. Absolutely. Blood everywhere. Body parts everywhere. There was stuff all over. Some beautiful rooms inside this haunt. But again, no talent. I'd say the first 3 rooms, there were 2 in each room. And then you went through a majority of the haunt with absolutely nothing. And then the last 3-4 rooms had 1 or 2 people in them. And that was it. Now those people were going hard for sure. But when you walk through more of the rooms with nobody in it than you did with people in it, it's kind of a letdown. Now this one I do believe had a soundtrack. I liked it. It did fill some space. But it only fills so much when you're walking through a very decent sized maze. Most of these mazes were very, very decent size. I was very impressed by how long they were. It's just, it makes it hard when there's nobody in them. But I liked this one, and there's a lot of promise for it. So I hope to go back next season. Hopefully things are back to their regular. We can give this one another try. On to the next, Tooth Fairy. Tooth Fairy, outside they got this super cool truck thing that's kind of neat. It's like a motorhome, all decked out. Cool. They got a guy out in the line, interviewing people. And then you walk inside, you start in a house. And I'll be honest, this one didn't get me right away. I walked through, and you could tell it was wood panel walls that they were trying to make look like a house. And it was the first one. This was the third or fourth one that we actually went through. And I was kind of, oh, the detail in the other ones were so cool, But then you go into this room, and it's like the bloody inside of a mouth or something crawling out through the door, and you go into the Tooth Fairy's lair, I'm guessing. From then on, fantastic. Lots of stuff in here from the Not Scary Farm Tooth Fairy haunt also. I was a little bit confused because they used the laustrophobia bags, but instead of having 2 next to each other, they would have one random one that you'd kind of just walk around, and then another random one. But the hallway was so wide and area you were going through that there really was no point for it to be there at all, except maybe to have a scare actor behind it, which I think I saw one. But this one, again, suffered from lack of scare actors. There were definitely more in this one than the other 2 that I've already spoken about. But still lots of long spaces and large room with no real talent in there. And some of them that were in there weren't really interacting with the guests. They were doing their own little thing. There was a girl smacking the doll on the ground or something. Maybe just to set up the story, and that's okay. But when you don't have as many as you should have, every single one of them in there should be scaring. Just my opinion. But it looked amazing once we went into that layer for the rest of it. Gorgeous haunt. Great stuff. I could see the potential. They just need to push it up to that next level. Okay, on to number 2. Madame Mary's Midnight Massacre. I thought this maze was beautiful. Not expecting something like this from California Great America. I thought it was very well done. Beautiful setup going through a manor with the masquerade, and you see all the people working there, all the servants and all that. They had a kind of like a swamp, not really a swamp, but swamp type area out there that you walk through with the lasers. The fog wasn't working quite right for them, so it didn't really give off the effect they were looking for. But I know the effect, so I appreciated it. There's a scene with this big staircase going up, and the problem is you have the banner up in the front. Not a banner, but you know what I mean. The staircase goes up with the railing, but then no wall behind it to create that illusion that there's something there. So you had the staircase, and then nothing. You could see through the backside, through the ceiling and the other walls in the back. I wish, maybe it's a fire code thing. I don't know. But I wish there was a way that they could have at least put, a little 4-foot wall or something just to create and finish that illusion that those stairs actually went somewhere. But beautiful sets, beautifully done. Again, suffers a little bit from the lack of scare actors. I think Tooth Fairy had more than this one, and this one had a decent amount. Number 5, Roadkill, and Wax Museum, hardly anybody. But beautiful maze, loved it. Very long again, and can't wait to see again next year. Hopefully they can step that up. Number 1 on my list. Absolutely is a number 1, and stands way above the rest of them at this event. Now this one is the second you go into the park. It's immediately to the right hand side. You go underneath Gold Striker into a building back there. Beautiful little facade. The story didn't necessarily tell very well from what I read in the description. This was one where you were invited out to a dinner, like out in the woods, to go hunting and hunt your dinner, and then there's werewolves that are hunting you instead. It didn't remind me very woods-like. It was more Bayou Woods, kind of like the one at Not Scary Farm. But very well done. Beautiful. You walked in the first, and there's a lady who greeted you to check you in and tell you the dinner's waiting. There's breakfast in the morning, and kind of making a few jokes about you might not make it till morning. But gorgeous. Walking through, you're going from one cabin into the next, and when you're in the outside space, you feel like you're in like a woodsy bayou, and there's water down below, and when you look out, there's not a wall like that ends the illusion. It's way out there. Like the building's big, and they don't even use most of the space. Gorgeous. Great scares. Talent everywhere. This was the first one that we went through, and I was so pumped when we got out of this one for the rest of them, and it just fell a little flat on the rest of them, even though they looked good. But talent-wise, this one, there were scare actors everywhere. I will say the wolves were a little out of place. 1, it didn't make sense. And 2, they were all just standing in the middle of the room that they were in, or up against the wall, just standing there. And they might lunge at you a little bit, but nobody was hiding. Nobody came out from anywhere. Nobody, I don't know. There were like campers or other people who were attacked and stuff that were jumping out and scaring us from hidden spots. When you go into the outside sections before you go into another cabin, they had some ghillie suits that were inside the bushes and the brush that hid phenomenally well. Incredible scares, getting everybody. And then the big part is the wolves, and they're just standing there. You can see every single one of them. Not a single one of them was hidden or even trying to hide or came from anywhere. I never felt like I was being attacked or needed to be afraid of them, because they were kind of just standing there. And then they might kind of move out at you, and then they move back and just stand there. But that's just my opinion. Hopefully, you guys had a better experience than me. We only got to go through all the mazes one time. The event was only open for 5 hours. But we had a great time. I absolutely think it was worth it. I would absolutely 100% go back. Also, with that, they had a scare zone. Killer Clown Town. And this is big. It's back towards the back part of the park. Big scare zone. Clowns everywhere. There were quite a lot of clowns. Now, I know they usually do more than one scare zone, so my guess is maybe because of the lack of being able to hire people, they just said, hey, instead of doing a bunch of little ones, we'll just do one big one. I kind of wish they would have just done none. Not that it's not good. Great scare zone. I just wish they would have taken that talent and put them in the mazes, so the mazes were full. Because you wait time to go into a maze, so your expectations are a little higher when you go inside. And when there's nobody in there, you get a little disappointed. A scare zone you don't wait for, you just walk through. And they could have not done the scare zone, and I don't think it would have made that big of a difference to the event. I really don't. And put all that talent into the mazes, which would have made, if they would have spread them out enough, every one of the mazes could have gotten away a lot better. And I think the review would have been a lot better, because I wouldn't be complaining about lack of talent, because you had quite a few clowns out there that could have been inside. Just saying, I don't know the operations behind it. I don't know the decisions and why they made that. There must be a reason why they did it that way. Maybe those scare actors outside are outside for a reason, and they can't be put inside because of contracts or hurt feelings. I don't know. But as a haunter, sometimes you just gotta give in and do what's best for the show. And I think what's best for the show would have been those scare actors inside the mazes. On top of that, they had 2 party zones. The first one was called Hometown Harvest. Now that's up towards the front, just behind the big carousel and all that. Just a little further back from that. I don't know if I'd call this a party zone. It definitely had a hometown feel. They had some stilt walkers, and they had 2 guys on a piano playing just kind of modern music, and it was very nice, in a very nice mood. I don't know if it was a party zone, but nice. The other one was called the Voodoo Party Zone, and this place was pumping. Now, this is over by Flight Deck. They had a stage in front of Flight Deck where they had a live band, and then they had like blood drums, and then just around the corner from that, they had another stage with a DJ, and it looked like circus acts and stuff could perform there. And the one time we walked by, the band was playing or finishing up their set and then getting ready for blood drums. It was loud, it was party, it was rocking. There's a guy juggling, walking around. Super cool area. Definitely could have spent some more time in there, but we were pressed for time, so we just kind of walked through. They also have 3 shows, Blood Drums, which we didn't see, but I'm guessing it's kind of like the one down at Knott's Scary Farm drum show. They're always a lot of fun. If you get a chance, check that out. Also, they have an opening scares ceremony where a witch comes out in front of the carousel, and they have monsters around the carousel and out on this like X stage in the water, and they kind of introduce the show and all the fears you're gonna have, and then fire shoots up and everything starts. We got there just past opening, so we did miss it, but I have seen a video of it. Looks pretty cool if you get there in time. At opening is when they do that. And the last one is their big show, the Night Walkers. We kind of saw this starting as we walked by on our way to our last ride. Looks like they've got like stunt bikes and rollerblades and circus acts. They got the jump wall trampoline, and they had an aerial act we saw and some dancers, and seemed like a decently long show. We could hear it the whole time we were in line. So if you get a chance, check this one out. It was from 7 to midnight the night we were there, so 5 hours is what we had. We did all 5 mazes, and then we also, onto the roller coaster park, got to ride Railblazer for our very first time ever, my first single rail coaster. Phenomenal roller coaster. There is such extreme airtime on this thing because of how quick it's moving. Now, it's a super short ride. I'm not going to lie. It's quick. It's short. But it is so intense for that short period of time that you're on there. I'd say 30 seconds maybe. But that 30 seconds, you are all over the place and at lightning speed in such a tight, compact layout. This is an RMC creation, single rail Raptor coaster. Absolutely phenomenal for my first one. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to go back and go on it. The second one was Gold Striker. That's their wood coaster that they've had for a while. They have another one in the back called Grizzly. Went on it a long time ago. Not a fan of that coaster. Never have been since it opened. It's a definite skip for me. But Gold Striker, now that's a great roller coaster. Great wooden coaster, incredible speed. A lot of it's low to the ground, so lots of little pops of airtime, but no big hill, no big airtime after that first drop, which really isn't. The drop only goes about halfway down. It's kind of turning, and then it turns, but speed, and changing directions. Right, left, constantly up and over, right, left, and then big turn, and then just when you think the coaster's over, it finds another corner to make another right turn. Okay, now we're going to be hitting the brake run. No, we're going to go back out on this other side, and we're going to do a left turn. Fun ride. It was the last one of the night, very dark. Both those coasters, I got to sit in the back row. Phenomenal rides in the back row. Highly suggest, if you get a chance, you haven't ridden those yet, do so. The lines are pretty long and they move pretty slow. We waited over an hour and a half for Railblazer and just over an hour for Gold Striker. Now, normally these haunted events, I do not do the rides. We are there for haunts, and we haunt the whole time. Now, because of the lower number in talent and the wait times on the haunts, and the fact that I'd never been on these 2 coasters and I'd wanted to get those coaster credits so bad, we decided not to go through the haunts a second time, but we did do everything at least once. We went on the coasters to add to, which I think made our night. Made it fantastic. Finished it off with a night's cap. So that's our review for California Great America Halloween Haunt 2021. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you agree with me or if you'd put it all in a different order. That's right. See that thumbs up? Give it a smash. Also, subscribe down below. Share with all your friends. We're getting that subscribe count up and we need you guys to finish. And as always, until next time, pranksters, scare you later.